Ever since I changed over to the AR-15 for service rifle competition, getting ready for my first match of the season was always pretty straightforward. A couple of days before the match, I would take the rebarreled upper out of the shipping box, attach it to the lower, and I was ready to head for the range. Since I'm going to be using a scope this year, this process is now a little bit more complicated. So here's what I did to get at least the scope ready for the first match of the season. First, I had to determine the proper fore-aft position of the scope based on eye relief. So I recorded myself from the side in all three shooting positions. Based on my eye position, or rather the position of my shooting glasses, I could find the best position for the scope. I needed something stable to set the upper on. I had a piece of steel plate lying around, so I used that. To support the upper, I placed small blocks under the delta ring and the handguard. Crosshairs that I printed on a piece of paper and leveled on the wall gave me something to calibrate my scope reticle. Since my paper target was only about 20 feet away, the crosshairs in the scope would appear out of focus. My solution was to make an aperture for the objective lens of the scope. This did make the image darker, but it allowed me to see a sharper reticle. I leveled the upper by placing a level on top of the gas block and rotated the upper until it showed plumb. With the upper receiver level, I checked to see how close the reticle looked to my paper target. Pretty close, but I kept rotating the scope until I was happy with the alignment. Then all I had to do was torque the screws down to 25 inch-pounds. I made a final check of the alignment since torquing the rings may have shifted the scope slightly. Still looks good. Finally, I aligned the windage and elevation knobs to the markings on the scope body. Now I need to shoot it and begin getting zeros. Here's an example of how important it is to notice even the smallest details about your position. When I was shooting this video and first picked up the rifle for standing, I had forgotten that my adjustable stock was in the setting that I use for the sling supported positions. This gives me the longer length of pull that I want for sitting and prone. But in standing, this completely changed the way the rifle feels in my hands. The balance point felt very far forward. It was like I had to extend my arms to reach the handguard and the pistol grip. Here you can see the difference between the two positions. When the black marks on the stock are lined up, that's the setting for sitting and prone. Notice the difference in the position of my glasses relative to the receiver and how much more my right shoulder faces the target with the longer stock. Once I realized what was wrong, I changed back to my standing setting from last year, which has a shorter length of pull.